going on, everyone? This is Edwin Pagan from AskACompTech.com, and today we're going to be talking about virtual machines. And the reason I'm doing this tutorial, and a lot of you might know that, there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube as far as virtual machines go. And looking through them, first of all, I want to say horrible quality of video. The instructions suck, or you can't, really see the instructions. They do this whole typing on the screen thing. I never really understood that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a tutorial for you guys. It's really just plain and simple about how to set up a virtual machine, and as quick as possible, and the best program to do it with, as far as just to get your feet wet with virtualization. So let's get started. So what is a virtual machine? And I'm gonna get you the definition off of Google. And it's basically, a virtual machine is a software implementation of a machine that executes programs like a physical machine, and also a software emulation of a computer that runs in an isolated partition of a real computer. Alright? So simply enough, what virtual machines are good for is, let's say you want to test out a program or something, or a software, and you want to do it in an isolated environment where it's not going to affect your main computer. A virtual machine is a great route to go. So to get started, a couple things you're going to need is you want to have a computer that has pretty good resources. Now the test computer that I'm using today, and I'll just give you my specs on this one. You'll see that I'm running 2 gigs of memory, and not a very fast processor. It is a Core 2 Duo, so not the best system to do it on, but it will get the job done. You definitely want to worry about memory. Memory is a big thing, especially when you're running a virtual machine, because it does use RAM like a normal computer would. It will use that resource on your computer, so you want to make sure that that's good as far as your memory and the processor. Now, if you're just doing simple testing, then that's fine. But if you're going to be doing virtualization a lot, you definitely want to make sure your computer is beefed up. So the program that I usually use for virtualization, is just a real simple program, is VirtualBox. And basically virtualbox.org, you can download the program from there. It's a real nice to use program. So once we download that, we're going to go ahead and open that up. Let that open up, and you see I already created one, so we're going to go step by step on this one. So basically I'm going to go to new, and then we're going to next, and basically whatever you're going to call the system, whether it's going to be a Linux based system, whether it's going to be a Windows based system, you just want to give it a name. So we're just going to say Windows XP for AskACompTech.com. Now it's going to ask you how much memory you want to use. So a system like this, for just testing purposes that we're doing, or for this tutorial that we're doing, I'm just going to keep the basic memory at 192 megs. You could increase it all the way to where it's using all the system's memory. Would not recommend it. Usually you want to use at least 1/4 or 2/4 of your system's memory. All right. So we're going to hit next. And this is just basically asking what kind of disk you're going to use. And since we're just using testing purposes, using this for testing purposes, we're just going to go ahead and use 10 gigabytes. And it's going to say, proceed. And it's going to say dynamically expanding storage, which means it's going to keep expanding as the files you have are getting larger and larger. Or you can have a fixed size storage, meaning it's going to stay at exactly 5 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes. So we're just going to hit next. And just again, it's just asking the size of the virtual location and all that, and we're just going to hit next. And we're finished here. And this basically just summarizes how my virtual machine is going to be. It's going to be, you're going to create a virtual machine with the following parameters, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, this is a really straightforward program to use. As you can see, we just configured the virtual machine very quickly. Now, we now have a virtual computer. Simply enough. But we want to install an operating system on this, obviously. So how are we going to go about doing that? First of all, we want to get the operating system install disk for this. Now, this program allows us to either A, put a CD-ROM drive into this computer, put a CD that is Windows XP or whatever operating system you're going to use, and it's going to allow the virtual machine to boot from that and allow you to install that operating system to that computer. In this instance that I'm working with, I already have an ISO file that I downloaded of Windows XP that I'm going to use, and it's going to allow me to mount this to the computer. So I have my ISO file located on my desktop. It's my Windows XP Professional ISO. So let's go back to the virtual machine. And now we want to mount this so it boots up, it boots from that particular ISO. So we're going to go to storage. And it's going to open up our storage settings. And simply enough, what we're going to do is we're simply just going to click to add. Sorry, we're going to click on here and we're going to add a file. Or I'm sorry, start from the beginning. So we're going to go here where it says empty, and we're going to basically load up, almost basically load it up like it was a CD-ROM, or basically load up the file. And then I'm going to my desktop, go into my ISO folder, clicking Windows XP Professional, opening up, read it perfectly. And if you actually look to the left-hand side as well, you see other settings for your system. System display, and it lets you actually, edit these things before you load up, just in case you made an error. Lets you tell you, what kind of network adapter you're going to use. And this is just so you want to get connectivity to your computer when you actually have the full virtual machine built. So we're done playing with all these. We're just trying to do a real basic setup right now, and we're going to hit OK. And then from this point, I'm going to go ahead and power on my virtual machine. And we just had a little error there, and let's start booting up the virtual machine. We're going to hit start. And if we configure it properly, it should easily just start loading up the Windows setup files. And that pretty much sums up how to just set up the basic virtual machine. And this is exactly how you would set it up on a real machine. Once you finish doing all this, you simply would load up into the Windows environment, and you would be good to go. We're going to go ahead and shut down this machine. Close it. Power off machine. Go ahead and close out VirtualBox. And that was a very simple, meat and potatoes tutorial on how to set up a virtual machine, the program to use, how to load the ISOs, and how easy it really is to use one of these virtual machines. Now, if you have any other questions, comments, feel free to check us out at askacomtech.com. I am open to any tutorials that you guys are willing, asking for me to do. So simply post on there, hey, look, I'm looking for a tutorial on this and that, and definitely will post that tutorial for you guys. Now, if you have any questions, again, check us out at askacomtech.com.